Welcome to the channel Desenhando Inglês. Espero que vocês estejam maravilhosamente bem. Neste vídeo vamos praticar com 300 frases sobre Nova York. Nova York tem milhões de pessoas.
New York has millions of people. New York has millions of people. New York has millions of people.
Central Park é enorme.
Central Park is huge. Central Park is huge. Central Park is huge.
Há quatro estações de metrô.
There are 468 metro stations. There are 468 metro stations. There are 468 metro stations.
O metrô nunca para.
The subway never stops. The subway never stops. The subway never stops.
Times Square brilha sempre.
Times Square always shines. Times Square always shines. Times Square always shines.
Nova York tem 5 distritos.
New York has 5 boroughs. New York has 5 boroughs. New York has 5 boroughs.
Manhattan é uma ilha.
Manhattan is an island. Manhattan is an island. Manhattan is an island.
O Bronx tem pinguins.
Does the Bronx have penguins? Does the Bronx have penguins? Does the Bronx have penguins?
Brooklyn tem famosa ponte.
Brooklyn has a famous bridge. Brooklyn has a famous bridge. Brooklyn has a famous bridge.
Queens é muito diverso.
Queens is very diverse. Queens is very diverse. Queens is very diverse.
Staten Island tem balsa.
Staten Island has a ferry. Staten Island has a ferry. Staten Island has a ferry.
A balsa é gratuita.
The ferry is free. The ferry is free. The ferry is free.
Há dezenas de idiomas falados.
There are dozens of languages spoken. There are dozens of languages spoken. There are dozens of languages spoken.
Nova York nunca dorme. New York never sleeps. New York never sleeps. New York never sleeps. O Central Park existe desde 1858.
Central Park has existed since 1858. Central Park has existed since 1858. Central Park has existed since 1858.
Há 13.000 táxis amarelos.
There are 13,000 yellow taxis. There are 13,000 yellow taxis. There are 13,000 yellow taxis.
O metrô tem 24 horas.
The subway lasts 24 hours. The subway lasts 24 hours. The subway lasts 24 hours.
A estátua é francesa.
The statue is French. The statue is French. The statue is French.
Liberdade foi presente da França.
Freedom was a gift from France. Freedom was a gift from France. Freedom was a gift from France.
Nova York teve outro nome.
New York had another name. New York had another name. New York had another name.
Era chamada Nova Amsterdã.
It was called New Amsterdam. It was called New Amsterdam. It was called New Amsterdam.
Holandeses fundaram a cidade.
Dutch founded the city. Dutch founded the city. Dutch founded the city.
Broadway tem mais de 40 teatros.
Broadway has more than 40 theaters. Broadway has more than 40 theaters. Broadway has more than 40 theaters.
Há ratos por toda parte.
There are rats everywhere. There are rats everywhere. There are rats everywhere.
Pizza é religião aqui.
Pizza is religion here. Pizza is religion here. Pizza is religion here.
Nova York tem 578 museus.
New York has 578 museums. New York has 578 museums. New York has 578 museums.
O Empire State tem 102 andares.
The Empire State has 102 floors. The Empire State has 102 floors. The Empire State has 102 floors.
Construído em apenas 410 dias.
Built in just 410 days. Built in just 410 days. Built in just 410 days.
A 120 quilômetros de praia.
There are 120 kilometers of beach. There are 120 kilometers of beach. There are 120 kilometers of beach.
O Brooklyn Bridge tem 140 anos.
The Brooklyn Bridge is 140 years old. The Brooklyn Bridge is 140 years old. The Brooklyn Bridge is 140 years old.
Coney Island tem parque histórico.
Coney Island has a historic park. Coney Island has a historic park. Coney Island has a historic park.
Nova York possui ilhas menores.
New York has smaller islands. New York has smaller islands. New York has smaller islands.
O Harlem tem jazz histórico.
Harlem has historic jazz. Harlem has historic jazz. Harlem has historic jazz.
Chinatown é a maior dos EUA.
Chinatown is the largest in the USA. Chinatown is the largest in the USA. Chinatown is the largest in the USA.
Little Italy ainda resiste. Little Italy still resists. Little Italy still resists. Little Italy still resists. O metrô tem arte incrível.
The subway has incredible art. The subway has incredible art. The subway has incredible art.
Cada linha tem cor própria.
Each line has its own color. Each line has its own color. Each line has its own color.
Nova York tem 578 parques.
New York has 578 parks. New York has 578 parks. New York has 578 parks.
O Hudson corre a oeste.
The Hudson flows west. The Hudson flows west. The Hudson flows west.
East River fica a leste.
East River is to the east. East River is to the east. East River is to the east.
Há 2.000 pontes na cidade.
There are 2,000 bridges in the city. There are 2,000 bridges in the city. There are 2,000 bridges in the city.
O One World Trade tem 541 metros.
One World Trade is 541 meters. One World Trade is 541 meters. One World Trade is 541 meters.
É o prédio mais alto das Américas.
It is the tallest building in the Americas. It is the tallest building in the Americas. It is the tallest building in the Americas.
Yankee Stadium é enorme.
Yankee Stadium is huge. Yankee Stadium is huge. Yankee Stadium is huge.
Nova York tem 2 times de beisebol.
New York has 2 baseball teams. New York has 2 baseball teams. New York has 2 baseball teams.
Mets jogam no Queens.
Mets play in Queens. Mets play in Queens. Mets play in Queens.
O Flatiron é triangular.
The Flatiron is triangular. The Flatiron is triangular. The Flatiron is triangular.
Tem apenas 21 metros de largura.
It is only 21 meters wide. It is only 21 meters wide. It is only 21 meters wide.
Nova York tem cemitério histórico.
New York has a historic cemetery. New York has a historic cemetery. New York has a historic cemetery.
Trinity Church é muito antiga.
Trinity Church is very old. Trinity Church is very old. Trinity Church is very old.
Wall Street surgiu de muro.
Wall Street emerged from a wall. Wall Street emerged from a wall. Wall Street emerged from a wall.
Havia uma parede de proteção.
There was a protective wall. There was a protective wall. There was a protective wall.
O Federal Hall é histórico.
Federal Hall is historic. Federal Hall is historic. Federal Hall is historic.
Washington tomou posse ali.
Washington took office there. Washington took office there. Washington took office there.
Nova York tem 17 ilhas.
New York has 17 islands. New York has 17 islands. New York has 17 islands.
Governor's Island não tem carros. Governor's Island has no cars. Governor's Island has no cars. Governor's Island has no cars. Há castelo em Central Park.
There's a castle in Central Park. There's a castle in Central Park. There's a castle in Central Park.
Belvedere Castle é real.
Belvedere Castle is real. Belvedere Castle is real. Belvedere Castle is real.
Central Park tem reservatório.
Central Park has a reservoir. Central Park has a reservoir. Central Park has a reservoir.
Jogging ali é famoso.
Jogging there is famous. Jogging there is famous. Jogging there is famous.
O Rockefeller Center tem 19 prédios.
Rockefeller Center has 19 buildings. Rockefeller Center has 19 buildings. Rockefeller Center has 19 buildings.
Árvore de Natal famosa aqui.
Famous Christmas tree here. Famous Christmas tree here. Famous Christmas tree here.
Nova York tem 10.000 restaurantes.
New York has 10,000 restaurants. New York has 10,000 restaurants. New York has 10,000 restaurants.
Se come de tudo aqui.
You can eat everything here. You can eat everything here. You can eat everything here.
Há 1.001 barbearias.
There are 1,001 barber shops. There are 1,001 barber shops. There are 1,001 barber shops.
O metrô tem fantasmas.
Does the subway have ghosts? Does the subway have ghosts? Does the subway have ghosts?
Estações abandonadas existem lá.
Abandoned stations exist there. Abandoned stations exist there. Abandoned stations exist there.
City Hall Station foi abandonada.
City Hall Station was abandoned. City Hall Station was abandoned. City Hall Station was abandoned.
Existe balsa para Hoboken.
There is a ferry to Hoboken. There is a ferry to Hoboken. There is a ferry to Hoboken.
Nova Jersey fica do outro lado.
New Jersey is on the other side. New Jersey is on the other side. New Jersey is on the other side.
O Bronx deu origem ao rap.
The Bronx gave rise to rap. The Bronx gave rise to rap. The Bronx gave rise to rap.
Hip hop nasceu aqui.
Hip hop was born here. Hip hop was born here. Hip hop was born here.
Nova York tem lago em Central Park.
New York has a lake in Central Park. New York has a lake in Central Park. New York has a lake in Central Park.
Remadas são muito populares.
Rows are very popular. Rows are very popular. Rows are very popular.
Há voos de helicóptero turísticos.
There are tourist helicopter flights. There are tourist helicopter flights. There are tourist helicopter flights.
A vista de cima impressiona.
The view from the top is impressive. The view from the top is impressive. The view from the top is impressive.
Nova York recebe 60 milhões de turistas. New York receives 60 million tourists. New York receives 60 million tourists. New York receives 60 million tourists. Mais que qualquer cidade americana.
More than any American city. More than any American city. More than any American city.
O mercado de Wall Street é poderoso.
The Wall Street market is powerful. The Wall Street market is powerful. The Wall Street market is powerful.
Controla finanças do planeta.
Controls the planet's finances. Controls the planet's finances. Controls the planet's finances.
Nova York tem ladeiras em Manhattan.
Does New York have hills in Manhattan? Does New York have hills in Manhattan? Does New York have hills in Manhattan?
É quase completamente plana.
It's almost completely flat. It's almost completely flat. It's almost completely flat.
Há aqueduto histórico no Bronx.
There is a historic aqueduct in the Bronx. There is a historic aqueduct in the Bronx. There is a historic aqueduct in the Bronx.
O High Line é parque suspenso.
The High Line is a suspended park. The High Line is a suspended park. The High Line is a suspended park.
Fica em trilhos abandonados.
It's on abandoned trails. It's on abandoned trails. It's on abandoned trails.
Incrível vista do Hudson River.
Amazing view of the Hudson River. Amazing view of the Hudson River. Amazing view of the Hudson River.
Nova York tem praia no Brooklyn.
New York has a playa in Brooklyn. New York has a playa in Brooklyn. New York has a playa in Brooklyn.
Brighton Beach é chamada Pequena Rússia.
Brighton Beach is called Little Russia. Brighton Beach is called Little Russia. Brighton Beach is called Little Russia.
Apolo aquático no Central Park.
There is water polo in Central Park. There is water polo in Central Park. There is water polo in Central Park.
Crianças nadam no Hudson River.
Do kids swim in the Hudson River? Do kids swim in the Hudson River? Do kids swim in the Hudson River?
Proibido por razões de segurança.
Prohibited for security reasons. Prohibited for security reasons. Prohibited for security reasons.
O Grand Central tem sussurro.
Grand Central has whispers. Grand Central has whispers. Grand Central has whispers.
Galeria acústica impressiona visitantes.
Acoustic gallery impresses visitors. Acoustic gallery impresses visitors. Acoustic gallery impresses visitors.
Nova York tem ilha de lixo.
New York has a trash island. New York has a trash island. New York has a trash island.
Fresh Kills foi o maior aterro.
Fresh Kills was the largest landfill. Fresh Kills was the largest landfill. Fresh Kills was the largest landfill.
Hoje é parque ecológico.
Today it is an ecological park. Today it is an ecological park. Today it is an ecological park.
Nova York tem vulcão adormecido.
Does New York have a dormant volcano? Does New York have a dormant volcano? Does New York have a dormant volcano?
Não, mas tem granito. No, but it has granite. No, but it has granite. No, but it has granite. O metrô tem polvos.
Does the subway have octopuses? Does the subway have octopuses? Does the subway have octopuses?
Animais avistados lá embaixo.
Animals spotted down there. Animals spotted down there. Animals spotted down there.
Há tartarugas em Central Park.
There are turtles in Central Park. There are turtles in Central Park. There are turtles in Central Park.
O falcão mora em Manhattan.
The hawk lives in Manhattan. The hawk lives in Manhattan. The hawk lives in Manhattan.
Raposas vivem no Queens.
Foxes live in Queens. Foxes live in Queens. Foxes live in Queens.
Coiotes passeiam pelo Bronx.
Coyotes roam the Bronx. Coyotes roam the Bronx. Coyotes roam the Bronx.
Nova York tem abelhas oficiais.
New York has official bees. New York has official bees. New York has official bees.
Mel é produzido ali.
Honey is produced there. Honey is produced there. Honey is produced there.
O Brooklyn tem mercado famoso.
Brooklyn has a famous market. Brooklyn has a famous market. Brooklyn has a famous market.
Smorgasburg atrai milhares semanalmente.
Smorgasburg attracts thousands weekly. Smorgasburg attracts thousands weekly. Smorgasburg attracts thousands weekly.
Nova York tem praia nudista.
New York has a nudist beach. New York has a nudist beach. New York has a nudist beach.
fica em Sandy Hook.
It's in Sandy Hook. It's in Sandy Hook. It's in Sandy Hook.
O Queensboro Bridge é gratuito.
The Queensboro Bridge is free. The Queensboro Bridge is free. The Queensboro Bridge is free.
Todas as pontes têm pedágio?
Do all bridges have tolls? Do all bridges have tolls? Do all bridges have tolls?
Não, algumas são gratuitas.
No, some are free. No, some are free. No, some are free.
Nova York tem escola flutuante.
New York has a floating school. New York has a floating school. New York has a floating school.
Barco escola existe de verdade.
School boats really exist. School boats really exist. School boats really exist.
O LaGuardia tem reforma histórica.
LaGuardia has undergone historic renovations. LaGuardia has undergone historic renovations. LaGuardia has undergone historic renovations.
JFK tem 8 terminais.
JFK has 8 terminals. JFK has 8 terminals. JFK has 8 terminals.
Newark fica em New Jersey.
Newark is in New Jersey. Newark is in New Jersey. Newark is in New Jersey.
Aeroporto em cada direção. There is an airport in each direction. There is an airport in each direction. There is an airport in each direction. O submarino mora em Manhattan.
The submarine lives in Manhattan. The submarine lives in Manhattan. The submarine lives in Manhattan.
USS Intrepid é museu flutuante.
USS Intrepid is a floating museum. USS Intrepid is a floating museum. USS Intrepid is a floating museum.
Porta-aviões virou atração turística.
Aircraft carriers have become a tourist attraction. Aircraft carriers have become a tourist attraction. Aircraft carriers have become a tourist attraction.
Nova York tem telefones públicos.
Does New York have payphones? Does New York have payphones? Does New York have payphones?
Link NYC substituiu as cabines.
Link NYC has replaced the booths. Link NYC has replaced the booths. Link NYC has replaced the booths.
Oferecem Wi-Fi gratuito hoje.
They offer free Wi-Fi today. They offer free Wi-Fi today. They offer free Wi-Fi today.
O metrô tem estações artísticas.
The subway has artistic stations. The subway has artistic stations. The subway has artistic stations.
Mosaicos decoram paredes inteiras.
Mosaics decorate entire walls. Mosaics decorate entire walls. Mosaics decorate entire walls.
Artistas locais criaram as obras.
Local artists created the works. Local artists created the works. Local artists created the works.
Nova York tem rio subterrâneo.
New York has an underground river. New York has an underground river. New York has an underground river.
Minetta Brook corre sob Manhattan.
Minetta Brook runs beneath Manhattan. Minetta Brook runs beneath Manhattan. Minetta Brook runs beneath Manhattan.
O piso pode afundar ali.
The floor could sink there. The floor could sink there. The floor could sink there.
Há 21 quilômetros de túneis.
There are 21 kilometers of tunnels. There are 21 kilometers of tunnels. There are 21 kilometers of tunnels.
O Holland Tunnel tem ventiladores gigantes.
The Holland Tunnel has giant fans. The Holland Tunnel has giant fans. The Holland Tunnel has giant fans.
Ar fresco é bombeado continuamente.
Fresh air is pumped in continuously. Fresh air is pumped in continuously. Fresh air is pumped in continuously.
Nova York tem universidade famosa.
New York has a famous university. New York has a famous university. New York has a famous university.
Columbia University é muito antiga.
Columbia University is very old. Columbia University is very old. Columbia University is very old.
NYU fica em Greenwich Village.
NYU is in Greenwich Village. NYU is in Greenwich Village. NYU is in Greenwich Village.
Nova York tem prêmio Nobel.
New York has a Nobel Prize. New York has a Nobel Prize. New York has a Nobel Prize.
Vencedores moram pela cidade.
Winners live throughout the city. Winners live throughout the city. Winners live throughout the city.
O MoMA tem arte moderna. MoMA has modern art. MoMA has modern art. MoMA has modern art. Entradas às sextas são gratuitas.
Entries on Fridays are free. Entries on Fridays are free. Entries on Fridays are free.
Guggenheim tem forma espiral única.
Guggenheim has a unique spiral shape. Guggenheim has a unique spiral shape. Guggenheim has a unique spiral shape.
O Met é enorme demais.
The Met is too huge. The Met is too huge. The Met is too huge.
Leva dias para ver tudo.
It takes days to see everything. It takes days to see everything. It takes days to see everything.
Coleção tem 1,5 milhão de peças.
Collection has 1.5 million pieces. Collection has 1.5 million pieces. Collection has 1.5 million pieces.
Nova York tem jardim botânico.
New York has a botanical garden. New York has a botanical garden. New York has a botanical garden.
Fica no Bronx inteiro.
It's in the entire Bronx! It's in the entire Bronx! It's in the entire Bronx!
Brooklyn também tem jardim próprio.
Brooklyn also has its own garden. Brooklyn also has its own garden. Brooklyn also has its own garden.
Orquídeas raras crescem lá.
Rare orchids grow there. Rare orchids grow there. Rare orchids grow there.
Nova York tem zoo histórico.
New York has a historic zoo. New York has a historic zoo. New York has a historic zoo.
Bronx Zoo abriu em 1899.
Bronx Zoo opened in 1899. Bronx Zoo opened in 1899. Bronx Zoo opened in 1899.
É o maior zoo urbano.
It's the biggest urban zoo. It's the biggest urban zoo. It's the biggest urban zoo.
Central Park também tem zoo.
Central Park also has a zoo. Central Park also has a zoo. Central Park also has a zoo.
Pinguins vivem ali mesmo.
Penguins live right there. Penguins live right there. Penguins live right there.
Nova York tem festival de cinema.
New York has a film festival. New York has a film festival. New York has a film festival.
Tribeca Film Festival é famoso.
Tribeca Film Festival is famous. Tribeca Film Festival is famous. Tribeca Film Festival is famous.
Robert De Niro o fundou.
Robert De Niro founded it. Robert De Niro founded it. Robert De Niro founded it.
A maratona toda novembro.
There is a marathon every November. There is a marathon every November. There is a marathon every November.
50.000 corredores participam.
50,000 runners participate. 50,000 runners participate. 50,000 runners participate.
A corrida tem 42 quilômetros.
The race is 42 kilometers long. The race is 42 kilometers long. The race is 42 kilometers long.
Nova York tem parada LGBTQ enorme. New York has a huge LGBTQ parade. New York has a huge LGBTQ parade. New York has a huge LGBTQ parade. É uma das maiores do mundo.
It's one of the biggest in the world. It's one of the biggest in the world. It's one of the biggest in the world.
Começou após distúrbios em Stonewall.
It started after riots at Stonewall. It started after riots at Stonewall. It started after riots at Stonewall.
Nova York tem desfile de ação de graças.
New York has a Thanksgiving parade. New York has a Thanksgiving parade. New York has a Thanksgiving parade.
Balões gigantes voam baixinho.
Giant balloons fly softly. Giant balloons fly softly. Giant balloons fly softly.
Macy's organiza desde 1924.
Macy's has been organizing since 1924. Macy's has been organizing since 1924. Macy's has been organizing since 1924.
A Festival de Cinema Asiático.
There is an Asian film festival. There is an Asian film festival. There is an Asian film festival.
Nova York é muito diversa.
New York is very diverse. New York is very diverse. New York is very diverse.
Mais de 200 nacionalidades convivem.
More than 200 nationalities coexist. More than 200 nationalities coexist. More than 200 nationalities coexist.
Os bairros de Astoria é grego.
The neighborhood of Astoria is Greek. The neighborhood of Astoria is Greek. The neighborhood of Astoria is Greek.
Little Odessa é russa.
Little Odessa is Russian. Little Odessa is Russian. Little Odessa is Russian.
Jackson Heights tem sabor indiano.
Jackson Heights has an Indian flavor. Jackson Heights has an Indian flavor. Jackson Heights has an Indian flavor.
Flushing é a nova Chinatown.
Flushing is the new Chinatown. Flushing is the new Chinatown. Flushing is the new Chinatown.
Nova York tem campo de golfe público.
New York has a public golf course. New York has a public golf course. New York has a public golf course.
Fica em Staten Island mesmo?
It's in Staten Island. It's in Staten Island. It's in Staten Island.
Há pistas de patinação gratuitas.
There are free skating rinks. There are free skating rinks. There are free skating rinks.
Bryant Park no inverno brilha.
Bryant Park in winter shines. Bryant Park in winter shines. Bryant Park in winter shines.
Rockefeller Center cobra pela pista.
Rockefeller Center charges for the track. Rockefeller Center charges for the track. Rockefeller Center charges for the track.
Nova York tem biblioteca pública histórica.
New York has a historic public library. New York has a historic public library. New York has a historic public library.
Leões de pedra guardam a entrada.
Stone lions guard the entrance. Stone lions guard the entrance. Stone lions guard the entrance.
Patience e fortitude são os nomes.
Patience and fortitude are the names. Patience and fortitude are the names. Patience and fortitude are the names.
O Brooklyn tem destilaria famosa. Brooklyn has a famous distillery. Brooklyn has a famous distillery. Brooklyn has a famous distillery. Gin artesanal é feito lá.
Artisanal gin is made there. Artisanal gin is made there. Artisanal gin is made there.
Cerveja craft existe em abundância.
Craft beer exists in abundance. Craft beer exists in abundance. Craft beer exists in abundance.
Nova York tem queijo local?
Does New York have local cheese? Does New York have local cheese? Does New York have local cheese?
Murray's Cheese é famosíssimo.
Murray's cheese is famous. Murray's cheese is famous. Murray's cheese is famous.
Fundado há mais de 80 anos.
Founded over 80 years ago. Founded over 80 years ago. Founded over 80 years ago.
O deli judeu sobrevive ainda.
The Jewish deli still survives. The Jewish deli still survives. The Jewish deli still survives.
Katz's Deli abriu em 1888.
Katz's Deli opened in 1888. Katz's Deli opened in 1888. Katz's Deli opened in 1888.
Pastrami é tradição absoluta lá.
Pastrami is an absolute tradition there. Pastrami is an absolute tradition there. Pastrami is an absolute tradition there.
Nova York tem telhados verdes.
New York has green roofs. New York has green roofs. New York has green roofs.
A agricultura urbana cresce rapidamente.
Urban agriculture grows quickly. Urban agriculture grows quickly. Urban agriculture grows quickly.
Mel e vegetais são cultivados.
Honey and vegetables are grown. Honey and vegetables are grown. Honey and vegetables are grown.
O sol nasce sobre o Queens.
The sun rises over Queens. The sun rises over Queens. The sun rises over Queens.
E se põe sobre o Hudson.
And sets over the Hudson.
and sets over the Hudson, and sets over the Hudson.
A cidade pulsa sem parar.
The city pulses non-stop. The city pulses non-stop. The city pulses non-stop.
Nova York tem rua diagonal.
New York has a diagonal street. New York has a diagonal street. New York has a diagonal street.
Broadway corta Manhattan inteira.
Broadway cuts through entire Manhattan. Broadway cuts through entire Manhattan. Broadway cuts through entire Manhattan.
Segue antiga trilha indígena.
Follow an old indigenous trail. Follow an old indigenous trail. Follow an old indigenous trail.
Lenape habitavam essas terras.
Lenape inhabited these lands. Lenape inhabited these lands. Lenape inhabited these lands.
Muito antes dos holandeses.
Long before the Dutch. Long before the Dutch. Long before the Dutch.
Nova York tem diamante escondido.
Does New York have a hidden diamond? Does New York have a hidden diamond? Does New York have a hidden diamond?
Joias foram achadas ali. Jewels were found there. Jewels were found there. Jewels were found there. O subsolo guarda segredos.
The underground holds secrets. The underground holds secrets. The underground holds secrets.
A caverna sob Manhattan.
There are caves under Manhattan. There are caves under Manhattan. There are caves under Manhattan.
Rochas têm 450 milhões anos.
Rocks are 450 million years old. Rocks are 450 million years old. Rocks are 450 million years old.
Nova York tem estátua menor.
New York has a smaller statue. New York has a smaller statue. New York has a smaller statue.
Réplica menor da liberdade existe.
A smaller replica of freedom exists. A smaller replica of freedom exists. A smaller replica of freedom exists.
Fica no Brooklyn mesmo.
It's in Brooklyn. It's in Brooklyn. It's in Brooklyn.
O East Village tem história punk.
The East Village has a punk history. The East Village has a punk history. The East Village has a punk history.
CBGB foi lendário ali.
CBGB was legendary there. CBGB was legendary there. CBGB was legendary there.
Ramones tocaram nesse clube.
Ramones played at this club. Ramones played at this club. Ramones played at this club.
Nova York tem rio congelado?
Does New York have a frozen river? Does New York have a frozen river? Does New York have a frozen river?
East River já congelou.
East River has already frozen over. East River has already frozen over. East River has already frozen over.
Isso foi em 1780.
This was in 1780. This was in 1780. This was in 1780.
A farol em Manhattan.
There are lighthouses in Manhattan. There are lighthouses in Manhattan. There are lighthouses in Manhattan.
Em Wood Hill tem farol histórico.
Inwood Hill has a historic lighthouse. Inwood Hill has a historic lighthouse. Inwood Hill has a historic lighthouse.
Poucos nova-iorquinos sabem disso.
Few New Yorkers know this. Few New Yorkers know this. Few New Yorkers know this.
Nova York tem Museu do Sexo.
New York has a sex museum. New York has a sex museum. New York has a sex museum.
Museum of Sex fica em Manhattan.
Museum of Sex is in Manhattan. Museum of Sex is in Manhattan. Museum of Sex is in Manhattan.
Abriu suas portas em 2002.
It opened its doors in 2002. It opened its doors in 2002. It opened its doors in 2002.
Nova York tem Museu do Gangster?
Does New York have a gangster museum? Does New York have a gangster museum? Does New York have a gangster museum?
Há exposições sobre máfia italiana.
There are exhibits about the Italian mafia. There are exhibits about the Italian mafia. There are exhibits about the Italian mafia.
Lucky Luciano morou aqui. Lucky Luciano lived here. Lucky Luciano lived here. Lucky Luciano lived here. O bairro de Five Points era perigoso.
The 5 Points neighborhood was dangerous. The 5 Points neighborhood was dangerous. The 5 Points neighborhood was dangerous.
Gangues dominavam no século XIX.
Gangs ruled in the 19th century. Gangs ruled in the 19th century. Gangs ruled in the 19th century.
Filme imortalizou esse período.
Film immortalized this period. Film immortalized this period. Film immortalized this period.
Nova York tem elevador histórico.
New York has a historic elevator. New York has a historic elevator. New York has a historic elevator.
Macy's tem escadas rolantes de madeira.
Macy's has wooden escalators. Macy's has wooden escalators. Macy's has wooden escalators.
São as mais antigas dos UA.
They are the oldest in the USA. They are the oldest in the USA. They are the oldest in the USA.
O Plaza Hotel é icônico.
The Plaza Hotel is iconic. The Plaza Hotel is iconic. The Plaza Hotel is iconic.
Macaulay Culkin ficou lá.
Macaulay Culkin stayed there. Macaulay Culkin stayed there. Macaulay Culkin stayed there.
Cenas de filmes foram gravadas.
Movie scenes were recorded. Movie scenes were recorded. Movie scenes were recorded.
Nova York tem aquário famoso.
New York has a famous aquarium. New York has a famous aquarium. New York has a famous aquarium.
Fica em Coney Island mesmo.
It's right in Coney Island. It's right in Coney Island. It's right in Coney Island.
Tubarões nadam ali dentro.
Sharks swim in there. Sharks swim in there. Sharks swim in there.
Há pinguins africanos também.
There are African penguins too. There are African penguins too. There are African penguins too.
Nova York tem rua mais curta.
New York has a shorter street. New York has a shorter street. New York has a shorter street.
Exchange Place tem apenas metros.
Exchange Place is just meters long. Exchange Place is just meters long. Exchange Place is just meters long.
Mal cabe uma quadra ali.
There's barely room for a block there. There's barely room for a block there. There's barely room for a block there.
Nova York tem escola de magia?
Does New York have a magic school? Does New York have a magic school? Does New York have a magic school?
Não exatamente, mas quase.
Not exactly, but almost. Not exactly, but almost. Not exactly, but almost.
A Academia de Harry Houdini existiu.
Harry Houdini's Academy existed. Harry Houdini's Academy existed. Harry Houdini's Academy existed.
Houdini morou em Nova York.
Houdini lived in New York. Houdini lived in New York. Houdini lived in New York.
Fez shows em teatro histórico. He performed in historic theaters. He performed in historic theaters. He performed in historic theaters. Nova York tem parque no telhado.
New York has a rooftop park. New York has a rooftop park. New York has a rooftop park.
Rooftop bars existem por toda parte.
Rooftop bars exist everywhere. Rooftop bars exist everywhere. Rooftop bars exist everywhere.
Vista de lá é incrível.
View from there is incredible. View from there is incredible. View from there is incredible.
Há hotel dentro de navio?
Is there a hotel on the ship? Is there a hotel on the ship? Is there a hotel on the ship?
Queen Mary 2 atraca aqui.
Queen Mary 2 docks here. Queen Mary 2 docks here. Queen Mary 2 docks here.
Passageiros chegam pelo Hudson River.
Passengers arrive via the Hudson River. Passengers arrive via the Hudson River. Passengers arrive via the Hudson River.
Nova York tem rua sem saída famosa.
New York has a famous dead-end street. New York has a famous dead-end street. New York has a famous dead-end street.
Dead-end streets existem em Manhattan.
Dead-end streets exist in Manhattan. Dead-end streets exist in Manhattan. Dead-end streets exist in Manhattan.
Algumas viraram jardins comunitários.
Some became community gardens. Some became community gardens. Some became community gardens.
O Lower East Side foi imigrante.
The Lower East Side was immigrant. The Lower East Side was immigrant. The Lower East Side was immigrant.
Judeus chegaram em massa ali.
Jews arrived en masse there. Jews arrived en masse there. Jews arrived en masse there.
Tenement Museum conta essa história.
Tenement Museum tells this story. Tenement Museum tells this story. Tenement Museum tells this story.
Nova York tem pedestre recorde?
Does New York have record pedestrians? Does New York have record pedestrians? Does New York have record pedestrians?
Times Square tem 460 mil diariamente.
Times Square has 460,000 daily. Times Square has 460,000 daily. Times Square has 460,000 daily.
Maior fluxo pedestre do mundo.
Largest pedestrian flow in the world. Largest pedestrian flow in the world. Largest pedestrian flow in the world.
A estação de trem abandonada.
There is an abandoned train station. There is an abandoned train station. There is an abandoned train station.
Waldorf Astoria tem plataforma secreta.
Waldorf Astoria has a secret platform. Waldorf Astoria has a secret platform. Waldorf Astoria has a secret platform.
Roosevelt usava para entrar discretamente.
Roosevelt used it to enter discreetly. Roosevelt used it to enter discreetly. Roosevelt used it to enter discreetly.
Nova York tem ilha particular.
Does New York have a private island? Does New York have a private island? Does New York have a private island?
North Brother Island é abandonada.
North Brother Island is abandoned. North Brother Island is abandoned. North Brother Island is abandoned.
Typhoid Mary ficou confinada lá. Typhoid Mary was confined there. Typhoid Mary was confined there. Typhoid Mary was confined there. A pombo viajante homenageado?
Are there traveling pigeons honored? Are there traveling pigeons honored? Are there traveling pigeons honored?
Cherami tem estátua dedicada.
Cherami has a dedicated statue. Cherami has a dedicated statue. Cherami has a dedicated statue.
Pombo salvou soldados na guerra.
Pigeon saved soldiers in the war. Pigeon saved soldiers in the war. Pigeon saved soldiers in the war.
Nova York tem bonde histórico.
Does New York have a historic tram? Does New York have a historic tram? Does New York have a historic tram?
Bondes elétricos circularam por décadas.
Electric trams ran for decades. Electric trams ran for decades. Electric trams ran for decades.
Linhas foram extintas em 1957.
Lines were extinguished in 1957. Lines were extinguished in 1957. Lines were extinguished in 1957.
Há projeto de retomar bondinho.
There is a plan to revive the cable car. There is a plan to revive the cable car. There is a plan to revive the cable car.
Red Hook pode ter bonde novo.
Red Hook may have a new streetcar. Red Hook may have a new streetcar. Red Hook may have a new streetcar.
Moradores aguardam ansiosamente isso.
Residents are eagerly awaiting this. Residents are eagerly awaiting this. Residents are eagerly awaiting this.
Nova York tem mercado de pulgas famoso?
Does New York have a famous flea market? Does New York have a famous flea market? Does New York have a famous flea market?
Hell's Kitchen Flea Market exists.
Hell's Kitchen Flea Market exists. Hell's Kitchen Flea Market exists. Hell's Kitchen Flea Market exists.
Funciona nos fins de semana.
It works on weekends. It works on weekends. It works on weekends.
A Museu de Arte Outsider.
Is there an outsider art museum? Is there an outsider art museum? Is there an outsider art museum?
Museum of Arts and Design exist.
Museum of Arts and Design exists. Museum of Arts and Design exists. Museum of Arts and Design exists.
Fica no Columbus Circle mesmo.
It's right on Columbus Circle. It's right on Columbus Circle. It's right on Columbus Circle.
Nova York tem festival de jazz.
New York has a jazz festival. New York has a jazz festival. New York has a jazz festival.
Village Vanguard tem jazz diário.
Village Vanguard has daily jazz. Village Vanguard has daily jazz. Village Vanguard has daily jazz.
Blue Note também é lendário.
Blue Note is also legendary. Blue Note is also legendary. Blue Note is also legendary.
Charlie Parker morou no Village.
Charlie Parker lived in the village. Charlie Parker lived in the village. Charlie Parker lived in the village.
Tocava sax de forma incrível.
He played the sax incredibly. He played the sax incredibly. He played the sax incredibly.
Miles Davis gravou aqui também. Miles Davis recorded here too. Miles Davis recorded here too. Miles Davis recorded here too. Nova York tem ponte pêncil histórica.
New York has a historic suspension bridge. New York has a historic suspension bridge. New York has a historic suspension bridge.
Brooklyn Bridge inspirou outras pontes.
Brooklyn Bridge inspired other bridges. Brooklyn Bridge inspired other bridges. Brooklyn Bridge inspired other bridges.
John Roebling projetou essa obra.
John Roebling designed this work. John Roebling designed this work. John Roebling designed this work.
Ele morreu antes da inauguração.
He died before the inauguration. He died before the inauguration. He died before the inauguration.
Sua esposa supervisionou a construção.
His wife supervised the construction. His wife supervised the construction. His wife supervised the construction.
Emily Roebling foi heroína anônima.
Emily Roebling was an unsung hero. Emily Roebling was an unsung hero. Emily Roebling was an unsung hero.
Nova York tem inverno rigoroso?
Does New York have a harsh winter? Does New York have a harsh winter? Does New York have a harsh winter?
Blizzard de 1888 foi histórica.
Blizzard of 1888 was historic. Blizzard of 1888 was historic. Blizzard of 1888 was historic.
Neve paralisou a cidade inteira.
Snow paralyzed the entire city. Snow paralyzed the entire city. Snow paralyzed the entire city.
O verão também é extremo.
Summer is also extreme. Summer is also extreme. Summer is also extreme.
Calor úmido sufoca todo mundo.
Humid heat suffocates everyone. Humid heat suffocates everyone. Humid heat suffocates everyone.
Ar-condicionado é item essencial.
Air conditioning is an essential item. Air conditioning is an essential item. Air conditioning is an essential item.
Eu simplesmente amo Nova York.
I simply love New York. I simply love New York. I simply love New York.